Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at the new releases for the Soulblight Gravelords for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So first of all I want to say massive thanks to GamesWorks for sending us these a little ahead of time for free to check out on the site. In this video we're going to be checking out the 4 new kits, seeing how they go together, look at all the sprues and see how they fit with any kind of multi-builds and options that we've got. And then at the end of the video we're going to have these built and painted, and we'll have a bit of a size comparison to show how they stack up to other models in the range. And yeah, by the time I'm filming this, I've only recently finished doing the Soulblight Gravelords army set, the Death Rattle army set, which was amazing and I thoroughly enjoyed it, to the point where I picked up another box because I want to run a full kind of Death Rattle army. And now most of the remaining new kits are on the way. Now we haven't been sent Kado, I'm not sure if that's out at the same time as this, I assume it is, but we do have Prince Vhordrai on his dragon, which can be built as a Revenant Dracolith as well. The Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed, the Manifestations, and the Cursed Supulchre. So all really nice kits that I'm looking forward to painting. The dragon in particular, I mean, I'm a big fan of dragons. I think that's a vast improvement on the old zombie dragon. So yeah, again, we'll have a look to see if that can be made modular to make the rider removable. I don't think it is with the kind of the reins and everything, but we'll have a look to see if that is modular at all, and if you could maybe have him removable if you just wanted to run the dragon by itself. Again, I'll probably pick up another one of these to use as the mounted version as well. But yeah, without further ado, let's have a look at the kits and see how they go together. So I guess we'll start with the big one first, and Vhordrai on his dragon. Just move those to one side for now and check this guy out. Again, amazing looking kit that can be put together optionally as a Revenant Dracolith, which is your replacement for the zombie dragon. If you have got existing zombie dragons, I'm sure you'll be able to run them as that. We'll have a look in this video how big the base size is, and at the end of the video we'll do a bit of a size comparison compared to the old one. It is worth noting that a generic Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon isn't an option anymore in the new Soulblight Gravelords Battle Tome, so if you do have one of them you could run it as Vhordrai, or remove the rider and just use it as a Revenant Dracolith. They're pretty cool, and I think there's going to be some scope for having a kind of riderless one anyway, so that's always worth looking at. This kit retails at £115, so a little bit on the pricey side. So again, we'll see how big he is. I mean, that's quite a sizable model, but most of that's his lance there. But the dragon itself looks really cool. So let's open this up and have a look at what we get. So, I'll pop this open, we'll have a look at the instructions in a little bit, but he looks very cool. Obviously the Terrorgeist Zombie Dragon kit was a very dated kit. It was an old Warhammer Fantasy kit, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Flesh Eater Courts get a replacement for the Terrorgeist 2, and then that old kit goes the way of Old World. But yeah, this is looking really cool compared to the old one. Lots of nice texture on it. It hasn't got the problem of, it was a lot of rib cage, wasn't it, the old one, but this has got a lot more dragon than rib cage, and that big old lance of his as well. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to building this one. If we have a look at the other sprue as well, you can see the wings there. It's not massive wings, but obviously they're in 3 parts, so they might be bigger when it's assembled. But yeah, just 2 big sprues on this one. Looks like he's on kind of perched on a bit of kind of scenery as well. So yeah, it is a shame that they haven't got a generic Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. I'm not sure why that is. It might have just been something as simple as not being able to fit it on the sprue. But yeah, he looks pretty cool. Now the base is pretty big too. That looks like it's the same size base that Archaon's on. And I think the Zombie Dragon, the current one's on a slightly smaller base perhaps. I'll check that, I'll do a side by side at the end of the video to show what he looks like, but yeah, that feels bigger to me. So, before we have a look at the other kits, let's have a quick look at the instructions and just see how he goes together, and if there's any kind of sub-assemblies recommended. So yeah, looks like the assembly's going to be quite straightforward. Build up the main kind of construction of the dragon. That looks like it's the same regardless of which option that you do. The wings look quite cool as well. It's not recommending leaving any of these separate here. So yeah, there is a minor difference in the two heads of the dragons and the tongues, based on which one that you build. The main difference really is the rider on this one is a big part of the construction. He looks incredibly cool. Yeah, it's not actually recommending to keep these apart as sub-assemblies, so you might be alright with him kind of stuck onto it. And then obviously the Revenant Draconith version's a lot more straightforward because you haven't got the rider on there as well. But yeah, he looks very, very cool. I'm looking forward to painting up a couple of these. So yeah, so that's the Revenant Draconith stroke Prince Vhordrai. We'll have a look at the manifestations next. Now these guys are £35.50, and these are your, well, endless spells essentially for the Soulblight Gravelords. All three included in the box. Yeah, really nice. This one's really cool. You can basically use it to heal up your vampires or give them extra attacks. This is one that can shut down movement, and then a big annoying swarm of bats that can just do damage but don't have many kind of health. These tend to just be two quite chunky frames, and yeah, they're going to be quite simple to put together. Not many pieces in each manifestation. I think they're going to be really quite easy to build there, which is nice. So yeah, they're pretty cool. If we have a look at the instructions for them as well, again, I'm not expecting these to be particularly complicated builds. The Hand of Nagash has probably got the most parts there, and then the Reliquary, just a few parts with the skeleton coming out, and then the swarm of bats at the end. If you've got some of the bats from Cursed City, you could maybe use them as it, but yeah, I quite like the manifestations here, especially the Hand of Nagash for shutting down movement. I think that's quite a useful one. So that is them. We then have the Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed. So this guy is, he's £35.50 as well. And this has got a choice of a couple of different head options I noticed on the back of the box. I really quite like the alternate build there. I think that looks really good without the hair kind of streaming out behind him. So yeah, looks like it's got an axe as well rather than a sword. So there's a couple of different parts if you do want to have some variation and you've got multiple ones in your army. So base size looks the same as the White King. Yeah, that looks like it's the same size as the White King. Again, the size of it will have a size comparison just in case, but initial kind of like gut feeling is the same size base that's on. And again, we've got two frames here. A lot of that being taken up by the Nightmare. But yeah, very, very cool. Again, I've done my guys with lots of kind of brasses and stuff, so I think I'll probably continue that here to tie them in with the rest of the death rattle that I've painted. But yeah, really, really nice kit. Again, if we have a look at the instructions, this one isn't going to be too difficult to build, I don't think. Not too many parts, and a couple of different assembly options, so we've got a choice of a couple of heads there. Then we build up the rider, and again you've got 3 different heads and 2 different weapons, so there are, there's some scope for conversions there as well. I quite like the simplicity of this one without the hair, so I think I'm kind of going to build that and the sword maybe. And then yeah, quite straightforward assembly on that one, so that one should be a nice easy one to build, and he'll be really cool leading my Blood Knights. And then finally we've got the Cursed Supulchre. So this is the new scenery piece for the Soulblight Gravelords. You basically get to place 3 of them on the battlefield. 1 in your territory, 1 outside of your territory, and 1 outside of enemy territory. And then yeah, you can use those as focal points for bringing up your skeletons, so pretty good. Not as good as they used to be in the index where they could come up from any scenery, but these are nice little points to have on the battlefield to bring your guys in. This is £50 and you get the 3 pieces in there which also build the Nighthaunt version as well. Now, we've not seen the rules for them, but Nighthaunt I think are next on the roadmap, so not too long after this one, hopefully we should have an idea of when the Nighthaunt are coming. Obviously, if you build it as one, you can probably use it as the other. You've just got some of the symbology that's seen on some of the other Nighthaunt stuff, like the roses, rather than the kind of like the vines on this side. So whichever one you build as, you're going to be fine using it as the other one, to be honest. So yeah, let's have a look at this one too. So I don't know how big these are. I don't know if they're as big as the old kind of Garden of Moor. They feel like they might be a little bit chunkier, and they're certainly on thicker plastic as well. So quite a chunky old kit there, which is good because it can be sturdy on the table. And my Garden of Moor I've broken so many times kind of using it in games, so good to see that it's a solid assembly on this one. And again, all the parts are double-sided, so you can use it for Nighthaunt or Gravelords as well. So yeah, and that's really going to go down to style, whichever one you prefer the look of, really. And then let's have a quick look at the instructions. So the Nexus of Grief is the Nighthaunt version. And again, just minor variances in the assembly. It's pretty much just flipping around the pieces. So it recommends building the bases first and painting them separate. If it's anything like the Garden of Moor, you can probably just leave them as separate pieces and stand the finished constructs on there, which is cool because it looks like there's a little kind of tomb inside one of them. Yeah, very, very similar assembly to the Garden of Moor if you built that, which was an old Warhammer Fantasy kit back in the day. Hopefully we see it back for Old World at some point. And then yeah, the Nexus of Grief is basically exactly the same, with the parts reversed to give them more of a Nighthaunt look. So yeah, that's really cool. And yeah, lots of echoes of the Garden of Moor here. So yeah, that'll make good scenery for Old World as well if you do play that. So yeah, what we're going to do now is jump to the future, where we'll have these built and painted, and we'll see what they look like in the flesh. Before we do get to the painted models, we did actually have another delivery after the first load of stuff arrived, and we've also been sent the blades of the Hollow King as well. So this is £42.50, and yeah, it's an interesting unit. They 6 wounds each, cast a unit of characters with some cool abilities. I think off the top of my head they're about 300 points, but yeah, I really, really like these. So let's crack them open and have a look what is inside this set as well. I'm tempted to do a full kind of vampire list as well. I think the way I'll go with my main force is with a kind of Barrow Kingdoms force, but I do think a vampire force would be fun. And Kado and the Blades of the Hollow King, I think it'd be a really good choice. So it looks like these have all got integrated plastic bases, and it looks like they might be push fit, looking at how the parts go together. So yeah, potentially a push fit kit there. So that is interesting. Now, push fit kits, generally you don't need glue to build them. You can do if you want to make them a bit more sturdy, but I'd recommend trimming down the pegs and stuff if you do, because what you'll find is that the additional kind of couple of millimeters from the glue can sometimes make the joints actually kind of hard to fit together if you do them that way. So yeah, these look cool though. I don't know if it's fully push fit or just the bases are. Obviously we'll see when we come to the instructions and building them. But yeah, they are very, very cool. Let's have a quick look at the instructions before we jump ahead. I can't expect there being any kind of modularity here. I think they're just going to go together as they go together. It doesn't actually say, yeah, no glue required, so they are a push fit kit. So again, these are going to be really, really easy to build. Cut out the parts, push them together, job done. So nice, easy one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to building and painting these ones, because again, I think a full vampire force would be a lot of fun, and they look really, really nice. So yeah, let's jump ahead and have a look at what all these models look like when they're finished. So a couple of weeks have passed and I've managed to get most of the Gravelords painted. A couple of models I didn't manage to get around to finishing, like the Vampire Lord on Nightmare. Really nice model, probably be working on him next, and he's going to be really good leading some Blood Knights. Likewise, didn't quite get round to finishing Kado and his friends. They are quite easy to build, they're just push fit models, so they shouldn't take too long to paint up. But obviously quite a lot of layers of detail to them, so what I'd recommend doing, don't stick them together, because if you leave them push fit, you can take, like here for example, you've got the ghost kind of swirling around him, you can remove that piece to make it easier to paint, otherwise it's going to be tricky to get your brush in if you leave that all in one piece. But I did manage to get everything else painted, so let's start with the endless spells first. So these were really good fun. Obviously the Gravelords haven't had any endless spells before, so it's nice to have some in this release wave. And yeah, these are really fun, nice little models. Now I know a lot of competitive players will probably take some of the kind of standard manifestations out of the General's Handbook. I quite like these. This one's quite nice because you can use it to basically give your character an extra attack or to heal them. You basically put it down on the battlefield and then expend it to kind of get that extra attack or that healing off. So that's really quite useful, and yeah, it's been handy. I had a game against Dave using these, and it was quite annoying being able to kind of sap that health back to keep my guys ticking. So that's cool. We've also got the Bat Swarms. So these two are linked, they share wounds, but they've got, I think they've got like 10 attacks each. Not a great profile, but they do crit mortals. So just in weight of fire, you can do quite a lot of damage. And again, damage they put through does heal them as well. So obviously that's a theme in all the Gravelord stuff. There's lots of healing mechanics, and they're quite nice. My favourite of the three though is the Hand of Nagash. And this is an interesting one. You basically use it to stop other models from moving. So say if I was having a game against Sylvaneth, for example, and Alarielle's been a bit of a nightmare, pop the hand up next to her and hold her in place to stop her from moving around while your other models get out of dodge. So really good utility piece, but I suppose anyone knowing that will absolutely try and get rid of this because yeah, it's going to be a pain. It's got a nice mechanic as well where in the movement phase it can hop to another point of the battlefield to try and make a shorter charge into the thing it's trying to hold. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that turned out as well. So that's the endless spells. I've also painted up the scenery piece, and these are very similar in style to the old Garden of Moor, but they are a little bit chunkier and they're quite a bit heavier as well. There's quite a lot of weight to them. They do have sculpted detail underneath. For this one I've actually stuck this in place because it was easy to paint it like that, having it all together. But you can, if you look at this one for example, all these base plates are interchangeable. So if you did want to get a couple of them for like terrain purposes rather than using them as faction scenery, you could easily have them each on different bases to mix things up a bit. It's worth noting as well, you probably can't see very well on camera, you see all the roses and stuff inside. The walls are fully reversible, so that you can use these for the Nighthaunt as well, by just building them inside out basically. And that just means that they look different on the outside compared to the Gravelords one, which is a nice touch. I mean, I have got Nighthaunt and I've got Gravelords, so I'll probably just use the one piece for both factions, but it's nice that you've got the options. Personally, I prefer the look of the Gravelords outside to it, with the kind of dead kind of roots and stuff, where the roses and stuff on the inside is very Nighthaunt. Where this one you can probably get away with using for both factions. And then yeah, you've got, again, you probably can't see very well, but you've got a bit of a skeleton inside the casket inside this kind of dilapidated mausoleum. So yeah, really nice kits, really easy to paint up as well. You can get away with a lot of washes and dry brushing and just kind of give the impression of that aged stone, and then a few grass tufts, painting the details, and then you're good to go. So yeah, really happy with how that turned out. My favourite of the models though in this wave is definitely Prince Vhordrai though. He is, so I didn't bring him down, it's a similar size model wise to the old zombie dragon, but obviously the design of it is a lot more modern. It's a lot more kind of, I don't know, it kind of fits with the faction, where the old zombie dragon was obviously a dual kit with the Terrorgeist, so I had that awkward situation of trying to fulfill a model for the Gravelords and the Flesh Eaters. This one is Gravelords through and through. You do get a slightly different head if you want to build it without the vampire on top, and they're pretty nice as well. They're a lot of points, and I've struggled to fit an unmounted dragon in the army, because if you take him alone, he's 500 points, so that's like a quarter of your army there. He is very good, and he kind of makes other vampires stronger as well, so I think if you're doing that, you're kind of going all in on vampires. I'd love to see a kind of monster mash list with lots of kind of riderless dragons, but rather than Prince Vhordrai, I think they'd go better with, I forget what they're called now, the other two monster characters with the big wings. They would go quite well together in a nice little force. Yeah, for the scheme, I decided to go for something a little bit different. On the box art, they've gone for like a green zombie colour, and it is a zombie dragon at the end of the day. But I thought the purples would go better with the death theme, and also it kind of contrasts with the red I've got for the armour, and I've got a lot of brassy kind of colours in my Gravelords army. So the green would kind of look a bit odd and stand out, and you might want it to stand out, but yeah, I think the purple works well. That's just shot through the airbrush, and then you can see there's a few kind of like details where the flesh has rotted away, and it's all just like bones and sinew inside, which is really, really nice. Now, I built this up as one piece and then painted, and that's a terrible idea. Do this in as many sub-assemblies as you can, because it's going to make your life a lot easier. Prince Vhordrai, if you can leave him separate, do it. I snapped that spear so many times while trying to paint this. I kept ramming it into my light because it's so big and cumbersome with those wings spread out and the spear in the air. If you have him off the dragon, it's going to be so much easier to paint it. Likewise, leave it off the base before you paint it. You probably need like a painting handle or something to attach it to. But a lot of that detail underneath it is so tricky to get to with your brush if you have it attached to the base. Luckily, since I was using an airbrush for a lot of the colours on this, I could get to it okay. But when it came to kind of painting in the details and the highlights with the brush, it was really, really tricky. Certainly underneath there, the detail's not quite as sharp because I've had to kind of like do what I can to what I can reach. So yeah. But yeah, very, very nice model, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everyone does with it. Now, obviously, alongside this today, the Gravelords Battle Tomes out, if you didn't pick up the launch box, and the kits out of that launch box as well, so the Barrow Guard, the Barrow Knights, the White, all that cool stuff. All that stuff's very, very strong, and I think really in the new Battle Tome, all of the Barrow stuff is probably what I'd lean into to do a full army. I haven't had a game yet with a vampire heavy list. It's something I'm hopefully trying to do this week. But gut feeling tells me that those big blocks of 20 Barrow Guard that are really hard to get through and then they just come back is going to be a really, really good unit for sitting on objectives and annoying the enemy. Same with the Barrow Knights as well. That's a similar unit, but I think they're harder hitting, and with their ability to bring back a dead horseman every turn is really, really strong as well. But yeah, the vampires have definitely got some tricks. Certainly the Kado and his little band of adventurers, having 6 wounds each, that's essentially an 18 wound wizard running around the board being annoying, and they've got quite a bit of damage output too. Likewise, the Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed, with a big block of Blood Knights, is able to do quite a lot of damage in the opponent's charge phase if you do that counter charge ability, so watch out for that if you are playing them. But yeah, we have got a full write-up of this over on spruesandbrews.com as well. We've got some pictures of the models and a bit of a write-up into how they went together, so check that out if you are interested. And if you would like to support the site as well, we do have a link to Element Games in the description. Anything you get through there, we get a bit of a kickback, which goes towards making these videos and helping the site out. So yeah, let us know if you are starting a Gravelords army. The scouring of Gairan has started as well, so by the time this video comes out, there might be some cool stuff revealed for the Gravelords as well to go alongside the stuff in the book. So let us know if you're starting a new army for that, or if you're adding to Gravelords, or if there's anything in this wave that you want to pick up. But yeah, until next time, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.